So let's talk about the first one. And how this kind of came about with Blizzard is that during a live player interview in the Overwatch League, an audience member flashed the OK hand gesture in the background. And after being seen live, Blizzard received complaints on Twitter from fans for this hate symbol being used. Responded publicly stating that the hand gesture is no longer accepted in the Overwatch League due to its use by alt-right and white supremacists. Blizzard has also banned Pepe the Frog in the past as well from the Overwatch League. So I guess like without going into, I mean, unless you'd like to, like, you know, this being like a symbol of the alt-right and white supremacists, I think a lot of people were still just using it as the OK hand gesture. I don't really think that it's like explicit as some people are leading it on to be. But like, how do you feel about like a physical gesture like this being banned at a certain place? For instance, the Overwatch League. It seems like to me like this is like kind of hard to enforce. You know, it's kind of subjective, and you know, I think with this one explicitly, like, you know, it's not like pulling your pants down and like showing everybody your butt. It's like, you know, some people do use this like as the OK sign. Like I know that I do from time to time. So like, I don't know. What are your overall thoughts?
I'm sorry to say this, but I actually did that in high school once. I pulled other kids out of the show. I got kicked out of chorus for it.
That's really good. That's good.
So like, I just flashed in my head, but that's neither here nor there. No, I just can't believe that this is what it's come to this, that just a symbol using your I mean, what if someone was using gang symbols, you know, would they ban those? That's my question. That's like something that's involved with, you know, violence and, you know, taking advantage of people and whatnot, and they probably wouldn't ban that if someone threw up like a Crip sign. But if they threw the OK sign, and how much information do we have that we know that the OK, have they like adopted it as their main hand gesture for, you know, to like communicate with each other or something like that? Like I don't understand.
I think it depends on, it hasn't been very clear to me. It seems like it's like, it depends on who you ask. It's like, you know, some people will say that yes it has, and then other people will say that it's like a meme started by 4chan, and I like, you know, I just have no idea.
Right. You know, the way that I look at this is like, I don't understand why, you know, when we're dealing with hand gestures, like why would you want people not to be able to do that if it identifies them as something, or if you think that it identifies them as something? Like then, like if they make that hand gesture, you can, you know, question them about it and get to the, you know, crux of the matter. Like I just it doesn't resonate with me on any level why such things need banned. You know, it's just like we've talked about before. I think that it's pandering and catering, just doing something that's going to make a subset of people happy, but it doesn't really fucking make any sense to me, like on any level.
No, this really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And it, you know, honestly, I don't want to get into like the whole origins of like the OK hand gesture or anything like that, but you know, I see it a lot in those like TikTok memes and stuff where people are doing
Really?
the you know, but it's like inverted. But you know, if you look at the circle game or whatever, and you get
Oh
punched,
yeah.
like remember that from high school, it's starting to make like a comeback here. You know, this is kind of like a popular thing, and I don't want to. I don't know what, you know, the implicit you know, intentions of this hand gesture were in the context of the video, but I've seen it, and you know, just from the kid, he's like standing behind an interview going on. All you can see is like the top of his hand. So like,
Yeah.
you know, he's getting people to look at his hand. That's it. You know, he's not doing anything else. He's not wearing a white supremacist shirt or something. I don't even know what that would be. But it didn't feel like there was any kind of malice or anything, you know, with the gesture or anything like that. But I guess in this case, in a lot of cases, it is just, you got to look at everyone individually, right? And I think they kind of missed the mark here. You know, I can kind of understand the Pepe the Frog thing being banned. There's a lot behind that, but like this OK hand gesture and like the the ambiguity of the gesture itself, its origins, what this person probably meant with it. All those things considered, I don't think that banning a hand gesture one as common as this is necessarily the right answer.
Yeah, I think to Ben's point, it seems like it was the Twitter outrage that sparked this, and like I feel like companies just need to like stop caving on things that are as like ridiculous as this. Just because like 5 people point out that they don't like that somebody put the OK hand sign up, like doesn't mean that it needs banned across your whole entire league.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple points to make. I think for one, like if you want to compare it like to other things, like other hand gestures or whatever, like okay, like if somebody was doing like the Nazi salute on there, I get that. I would ban that because like that had a place in history where people actually killed people and millions of people, and like that gesture was associated with that. That I would understand, but this, like Wolf was saying, very ambiguous. Like there's
Yeah.
lots of there's I don't think there's one meaning to it, and I don't think like most people, like average people, I don't even think they would know what it is. Like they wouldn't say that it was, you know what I mean? Like if I went up to my parents and did the OK symbol, they wouldn't even bat an eye
Yeah.
at it.
Oh
Yeah.
You know
no,
what I
because
mean?
people just use it. Yeah, I sort of like my
Right.
92-year-old grandma uses it. Like without even thinking,
Right.
she's just saying okay. Yeah, like
Right.
it's kind of, yeah, and she's obviously not a hateful person, at least I don't think.
Right, and then
she's got like a dark secret past I don't know about.
Well, obviously she's all white and a white supremacist. We know that much now.
She's like from Italy, but yeah.
yeah. And then like next point would be to like a group of people can get mad at any gesture and just say that like that means something, and then if enough people jump on the bandwagon, then they're gonna have to ban it because you're offending some minority of people, and you can't. You know what I mean? Everybody has to be included.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could give like the peace symbol, and that somebody could say that that's what the fuck ever, and you
Yeah,
can't
I mean,
do
you
that
could.
anymore. Just a giant group of people could just get on the train and be like, that means this. We can't have that anymore, and like
Yeah.
the company's gonna respond to it.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that's a really, really good point, Dave. That
Mhm.
I mean, that takes it a step further and a little bit deeper. It's like, yeah, I mean, where do you draw the line? And like, there's so many like, I think this is kind of like a weird point to make, but like, there's so many things that you can do with your hands to make a certain symbol. Like, you can do the OK, you can do the peace sign, or you can do like the Star Trek thing. And other than that, like, you're kind of out of options. So like, it's a little bit weird to ban that out. And I think like
Yeah,
we've all been
and, like,
saying, it
like,
seems
for me, like,
harmless.
I would like universally, people, if you would see the Nazi salute, you'd be like, okay, that's bad, right? But like most people, if you go up and give them the OK sign, nobody's gonna even bat an eye at it because that's not like a universal thing that people like that has some relevance in history. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like if I give you the Nazi salute and I give my parents, and like everybody knows what that is, but if I give my parents the OK symbol, they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
they wouldn't even think that I did anything.
There's not much context to it, like
Right?
you said.
Exactly.
This may be a little bit extreme, but I think that all symbolism should be allowed. If someone wants to walk around, if someone's dumb enough to walk around with a Nazi symbol on their fucking leather jacket or whatever, let the jackass, at least we know where he's at, rather than like if these things are banned or whatever, they're not, then there's no transparency anymore. So that's my opinion. If people want to express themselves and they believe in something that's that disgusting, and they really believe in the ideology behind that, like have at it, man. Like then you
Right.
can't organize and shit. Like
Right. Well, and like you make a good point about that too, because like if somebody was openly like a Nazi or whatever, 99.9% of the people like on the planet are just gonna completely ignore them and tell them to fuck off. You
exactly.
know what I mean? Like they're gonna have no support for anything.
Mm-mm.
You
It's not like
literally
people are
couldn't
gonna
even have a job. Like, you couldn't even make a
Right.
living.
No.
Exactly. Like sometimes you let people
Or a
do
good
shit like
job,
that,
at
and like
least.
they'll just, you know what I mean? The consequences will come naturally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You will be punished naturally.
Yeah, because people think that like it's up to these companies and whatnot. Like when it really comes down to it, if people generally, when they see the really bad stuff, will band together and be like, "Hey, get the fuck out of here!" Like we don't need these companies to ban it and shit. Like if something's really morally gone wrong, and somebody was doing something to like take advantage of being on, in view of that interview or whatever, like people would be like, get the fuck out of here, and they would just dismiss it, like, so I don't know.
I think that's a pretty good point, Ben. And just not to add like another thing to the mix here, but like just like another point on how ridiculous the OK hand gesture thing has gotten. I was actually reading that like in the new Mortal Kombat game that just came out, I think it's number 11. Like Johnny Cage used to do that like thing where like he'd put his like the OK thing like down by his waist. Like if you looked at it, like he like punches the screen.
Yeah.
I believe it's like an end of the game thing. Well, like they got forced to remove that, and now instead of doing the OK hand gesture, he actually just flicks you off, which apparently is better now. Instead of it's a good replacement.
Fuck you.
Yeah, so I thought you guys might like that. Yeah, it's fucking.
That's awesome.
It's a riot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The actual established symbol for go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
is
like the,
okay.
like
but...
the one thing I learned as a little kid, like not to do, right? It's like the thing that you can now do. Yeah, it's completely backwards.